From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we talk about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and my guest tonight, well, I shouldn't have to introduce her, but I will. Let's see, she's a journalist, singer-songwriter, actress, filmmaker, talk show host, and producer. She does this show when I don't, Around Foxborough, and a new show, Legalese. I also heard you're a model as well, and well, everybody knows who she is, but I'm going to say it anyways. Jerry Love, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me today. I'm wanting to be on the show.
You want to be on the show on the other side, right? In the other Zoom box. Well, you are like Foxborough's own Renaissance woman. Think about it. All the things you do, and you probably have more on this list that I don't even know about. Where do you find the time?
I operate maybe 18 to 20 hours a day.
I thought it was about, I guessed about 2 hours of sleep, but you get 4, so that's good.
Yeah.
4 is good.
Yeah, 2 to 4 is enough for me.
But now we can, you're an author. So let's talk about A Gift from Adversity. It's coming out on October 20th.
Yes, absolutely. I am so thrilled. This book is maybe 5 years in making. And I had an idea. Well, I've done a lot of motivational speech. Like I've been invited to colleges and conferences and speak about my experience of survival stories, accomplishment, etc. And a lot of people have asked me, Julie, do you have a book? Do you have a book? I'm like, I don't. And like, oh, you should know I have a book. And I'm like, oh, am I book worthy? And I really didn't know how to do it. So it's been about 5 years making, and I gave up a couple of times, but I am so excited. This is absolutely a process, and this is just a journey. And along the way, so many people have helped me, and I can't really thank people enough for making me who I am, helping me who I am, and really being there for me. So it means a lot. And here is my book.
Awesome. Nice.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what it went into this book. she's so happy.
What did you say?
So tell me a little bit about what went into this book. So tell us about the book, how what it's about. I know it's about you, but give us a little sneak preview as to what it's about.
Well, A Gift from Adversity the subtitle is Overcoming Sexual Abuse, Domestic Violence, Bullying, and Homelessness. And then it's really about my adversity growing up in Japan, like a very small town in Japan, which I talked about how I was raised and how my parents got divorced. And after my parents got divorced, that I was raised by my dad, and then he was a very abusive man, and I escaped from him when I was 13 after I faced really severe domestic violence, very, very severe physical and then sexual abuse from him. And I just instantly thought I would die. And so it was like, I was born in 1976, and in Japan, nobody talked about sexual abuse. Me Too movement, Norway, like no Me Too movement, nothing. Nobody talked about sexual abuse, and, nobody believed me. And even like teachers, my dad kind of manipulated the teachers that I was a traitor, I was a bad girl. And then like everybody was really against me. And I don't know how I found a courage to escape from him. But I had a secret meeting with my mom, and then I moved out from him. But then when I told my mom about my sexual abuse, she basically didn't believe it, and then said I made it up. So I tried to kill myself after. So my mom found me when I was 15, when I was trying to cut my wrist and then bleeding. And she thought I was crazy. And then, she put me on a medication, but it didn't work. So there was no understanding of how it affects child's psychology or mind, or, how it can affect actually rest of your life pretty much with the PTSD and panic attacks and stuff, which I sometimes do struggle. I'm 44. But this book is really about being authentic, honest, really about talking my own experience and how I got kicked out when I was 18, and I really worked hard for kind of different jobs, and I talked about like where I worked and what kind of like job I've done, and how I earned $30,000 when I was 19, 20 and got the scholarship to come to Berklee College of Music and then play the piano, and started a nonprofit after, and then got a Heroes Among Us award from Boston Celtics. And really how to, I mean, like, it's hard enough to talk about like your sexual abuse from your father, but I think it's a book about how one person coming from Japan and then really taking advantage of this wonderful country, America, and then getting so much support from a lot of people, realizing her dream and establishing her life and doing whatever she wants to do. And then as the nonprofit, I was a founder and then president for 12 years. And then how I learned so much. We're teaching, it's called Genuine Voices, and we're teaching about how to produce music, how to, it's all about music, and how I collaborated with so many different people, organizations, and how really it brought me so much of tangible, measurable outcome, and then self-esteem, and how much music had helped me. And yeah, it's very hard to talk about. And it's kind of interesting because I was doing a proofread maybe a couple of times. And then when I got my book in my hand, I was so excited, but I had to proofread and then send it to my publisher, my consent form. And I just got panic attack, Mark. I just like relieved, and it's just never go away. And it's really sad. But at the same time, when I do a lot of motivational speech and talk about this topic, and then people will come up to me and then they confide in me, they at least half a dozen people sometimes come up to me and then I was abused by my parents as well. Your story was very encouraging. So I would say, to do the speech like that, it's just like maybe a few audience. But with the book, I think I've heard from my friends, shout out to Yosef Israel, who introduced me to BookLogix, and shout out to BookLogix, my publisher in Georgia, that I think this would have a life of its own. And I'm hoping that it will reach out to a lot of people, and then people who unfortunately had experienced these traumatic situations, that somehow this is some guide book and healing book, because I'm just a person and my experience is all in there.
Well, when you said it's very hard to speak about, I can understand, what you went through. It's very hard to speak about, but you had the courage to do it. You had the courage to put the pen to paper, so to speak, and get it into a book. There are a lot of people out there that have gone through similar experiences, like you said, and they don't have the courage to speak up about it. Maybe your book will do that. It'll give them a chance maybe to reach out to somebody and talk and get it off their chest. And, your story's an inspiration. Look at all the things you've done since. So I think that's great. I really do. And you mentioned so many things when you were talking, so we have to go back and talk about each of these things. So first of all, president and founder of Genuine Voices. You want to explain exactly what Genuine Voices is? Because I think people will be fascinated to learn about this.
So Genuine Voices is already closed officially.
It is? Okay.
Yes, but I ran it for 12 years since age 26 after graduating from Berklee College of Music. And basically, when I was senior at the Berklee College of Music, there was senior project that we all had to do. And a lot of students actually did recording and concerts, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do community service. And the 9/11 happened. It was 2001. And I felt more compelled to do something. And then I got one laptop, one keyboard, a set of speakers. Shout out to David Marsh, donated. And then we started a music program at the Boys and Girls Club in Dorchester. And that was really the beginning of Genuine Voices. But I always wanted to teach music in the detention program because I read a story in Japanese book about a guy who taught journalism in detention program, and then some of them became professional screenwriters in Hollywood. And that was just a thunderbolt. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then I approached probation officer in Dorchester District Court, and I started from there. And I ran it for 12 years. And we were basically teaching at one point 4 different detention centers in Greater Boston. And we had, I swear I hired over 100, 200 volunteers and interns from all over America. I've had so many great volunteers, interns, board, the community partners. And I even got to go to Italy for a conference.
Wow.
Because the professor from the University of South Australia, Jerry Bluestein and Margaret Peters, they were writing a book, doing the research about how music can enhance troubled youth path. And they thought our site was the perfect fit. So they had 5 countries examples, and then I was chosen as one of the testimonials in America. So 4 professors flew from Australia, and they asked me to join at the ASPAM conference, International Association Studying Popular Music. And I was one of the panel. And so Genuine Voices started as my brainchild, but at the same time, it really blossomed. And I met so many amazing people. We got wonderful funding from Lenny Zaken Fund, so many donors, and we were able to really, really touch hardcore gang members in Boston area, Blood and Crips. And I've gotten to know a lot of them, and really the similarity of my adversity and their adversity resonated. And I really wanted to help because at some point I really wanted to give up on my life, and music really helped me. And, I wanted to share that experience with them, and especially with the hip hop and then productions. And I just really thought it's a way not only for them to become more productive and being positive, changing the course of their lives, but also for me to see it's called corrective experience, that these potentially violent male potentially from the Genuine Voices work, that they would become sweeter and then better person, that there wouldn't be more victim like myself. So that was really one of my deepest motivations as well.
That's great, because I love music, and music is something that unites everybody. And I think that's great that you worked with these kids. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Now, getting back to the book, chapter one. Let's see. The first thing we hear about is the Heroes Among Us award that you received from the Boston Celtics at TD Garden. I think you have a video of that, don't you?
Yes.
Maybe let's take a look at that right now.
Sure.
Of others. We proudly call them Heroes Among Us. Jury Love, a musician since the age of 3, understands the importance of music in young people's lives. A proud promoter of the arts, Yuri is the president and founder of Genuine Voices, a nonprofit that teaches music to juvenile offenders and at-risk kids in the greater Boston area. Through music, Genuine Voices strives to build their creativity and increase their resilience. To date, thanks to your jury's leadership, more than 600 at-risk young people are being provided music lessons. For her dedication to music awareness, please join the Celtics in welcoming tonight's Hero Among Us, Yuri Love.
and looking at that, how did that feel? Because it must have felt like you just hit the game-winning shot in the game to have all these people cheering, and it must have been incredible.
It was like I was at the center court of Boston Celtics, and then with 17,000 people, like a lot of them were giving me standing ovation. And my book actually starts from that moment of the award, and I felt like I was in the middle of huge energy ball and getting this so much love and amazing support from people that when I came to America, Boston, 1998, I knew nobody. I came here by myself. I was homeless when I was 18, and I like worked so hard and like saved about, I don't know, 30 grand, and then got scholarship and came here. And then I worked so hard, and then this award meant the world to me. It meant empowering, like, validation of my hard work, and really recognizing. I'm so grateful for Boston Celtics, and recognizing the work that we've done as a Genuine Voice. And I actually got 4 tickets to the game, and then we were sitting behind the CEO, courtside, chauffeured, and 1 ticket I used for a boy who was incarcerated but got out and it was doing really well, so I invited him. So he was really inspired, and he's doing so good. I'm just like really honored. And it was 2013, but still I have a picture of my room in my and then a trophy in my kitchen. I'm just like really grateful for this award. I felt just amazing. Like I felt really great, amazing.
Well, it's an experience you'll never forget.
No.
Never.
No. No.
So yeah, so another chapter 7 was very interesting. It was my message.
Yes.
And I got a couple of things from that. We said to the victim, and this is all about being the victim and the perpetrator and the family and friends of the victim. But you say to the victim, you did nothing wrong. You were born to live, not to die. Want to talk a little bit about that chapter? Because that was fascinating to me. It really was. And I think it's the meat of the book right there because of what you went through.
Thank you, Mark. So, by the way, my book will launch on October 20th. And I'm so excited on Amazon. And this really, chapter 7 is the 3 sections, as you said, to the victim and to the perpetrator, which I really kind of directed to my dad, but in general too. And to the family around the victim. To the victim is maybe almost speaking to myself, but there are a lot of people that I've talked to who had similar experiences, unfortunately, have shared so many of their like pain. And then I just want to not just sympathize, empathize, but really tell them about, it's not your fault. And sometimes as a victim, it's tricky because the perpetrator brainwashes you and then tell you you're wrong and I'm right. And, my dad manipulated me so many times that I felt like I was doing wrong, which he was. And it's just like, how do you get out of those mentality, like from being victim to outside of the victim and become survivor? And that's really the essence of this book, that I've experienced it and I've seen the other side of being a survivor and then being advocate for other victims and then being a journalist, being a producer, filmmaker, now author, that I feel that victims oftentimes get muted, like we get silenced, threatened, that if you tell this, then we'll kill your family or whatever, just, we're absolutely muted. But not only those threats, but inside of you, like you said, I've been modeling since I was 17, and I've been modeling and acting in America. I just model for Google, like Citizens Bank, Siemens Healthineers, like, big companies. And a lot of people say I'm gorgeous, like I'm beautiful, you're beautiful, Jerry, you're like amazing. But inside of me, like I was so abused heavily. And then I was told by my dad, I'm stupid, I'm like, what, all sorts of names. And then on top of that, physical and sexual abuse, that affects you. And then no matter how many times that people tell me I'm beautiful, I don't feel beautiful. And that's really the message that is really not your fault. And I just want to cry with you, not for you, that I am not just a survivor, but, under somebody who understands. When people say, oh, you went through so much trauma and it's hard, but I just sometimes feel like people who have never experienced that degree of trauma would never get it. And then it's not their fault. But for me, writing this book, if I could reach one person and maybe inspire, I would be very grateful.
I think you will. I think you will reach more than one person.
Thank you.
Honestly. And, beauty comes from within. And sometimes the scars we have just show how much we've grown. And, I know I've known people who have been in this situation, who have been abused, and, you've kept moving forward. You've done all these things in your life. So you're an inspiration. You really are, Jerry. You really are. And, we're not only happy to have you and lucky to have you at Foxborough Cable Access, because, by the way, everybody, at the end of this, you're going to see produced by Jerry Love. She's not only my guest, she's also my producer.
Assistant producer.
Assistant producer. Well, yeah. But also, Foxborough's great. Lucky to have you as well. So, so October 20th.
Yes.
That's the date. You're on Pins and Needles.
Yes, please.
I want my autographed copy.
Buy it more. You have to buy it on Amazon. I have to come to see you. I have to come to the house and then sign.
That sounds like a plan.
Yes.
A gift from adversity. Jerry Love, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure having you. And it's like I said, it's weird to be on the other end doing this, because I know you'll be doing a show probably next week as the host. So.
No, it's very wonderful. And I really, really appreciate you guys having me on the show. And then let me speak about a gift from adversity. Can I share epigraph?
Go for it.
So my epigraph right here is the two sentences, but it says, the sooner you can find the courage to accept your adversity, the sooner you can pave a positive path in your precious life.
Beautiful.
So that's my
beautiful. And you've done that.
Well,
you're doing it.
I have to say, the meaning of the sooner you accept your adversity, I couldn't do it. It took me maybe like 3 decades after it happened, maybe 2, 3. And it just like so much of struggle of like, why did it happen to me? Like, why am I this? Like, what's going on? And those things, if I had accepted it, what it is, this is what happened. And then I can't change the past. I have to move on. And, if I can say, not forget about it, but, just move on from it. If I could have said that, but acted on it like earlier, then I think I didn't have to waste so much time on this earth being depressed, being sad, and just struggle. I struggled.
But you fought through it though.
Yes.
See what I mean? You got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you were doing that whether you were struggling inside or not. You were still doing all these things that you should be proud of, and it's inspirational. And maybe by this, maybe somebody reads the book and says, you know what? Maybe they've only had this inside for a year or two. They'll move forward faster than you did, and it's all because of your book. So you got to look at it that way.
Thank you. I'm really hoping to do that, and then I'm really hoping to do book tour and a TED Talk someday.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, so I'm very proud, and I just want to shout out to Kim Paiva, who edited my book, Sumita, his friend, and then Jerry Bluestein, and then Yosef Israel, who introduced me to BookLogics, and I'm just grateful for all the support that I'm getting to publish this book, and see what happens.
Well, all I can say is good luck. I know you're going to do well, but good luck, and thanks for being on the show again, Jerry. I
Thank
really
you so much
had a
for
great time.
having me, Mark.
Thanks. And that'll do it for Around Foxborough. Have yourself a great day.